is so crooked. How am I supposed to be a fancy YouTuber? Good morning. Welcome to my kitchen, where I talk about what I want to talk about. Sometimes it's funny, sometimes it's messy, and sometimes I cry. If you were new here, caffeine. If you were new here, hello and welcome. If you're back, thank you for coming back and supporting my little tiny channel. What? You want? Jesus, hang on. I swear, he knows. He's like a toddler. The minute I start talking, he stands by the door and wants to go explore the basement and or the attic, aka Narnia. Anyway, I hope you all are having a fantastic day. It is currently snowing. We are getting lake effect snow, which means it's only snowing because I live by a lake. Oh, are you back? You back? Okay, you're back. I'm gonna shut the door. It will not accumulate. It's like light and fluffy snow. It's not anything massive. We are not getting the winter storm here in Wisconsin that is heading towards the south right now. It just kind of went through Nebraska and Iowa, parts of Minnesota. There's actually like a high pressure system sitting over the state. Oh God! I told you. There's a high pressure system sitting over the state of Wisconsin right now, which is like pushing that storm to the south, which is funny but not funny and ironic because why would you push a storm? Like, this is just nature, right? We don't have control over any of this. Like, let's make the storm go to the people who don't have snowplows. Let's do that. That makes tons of sense. Anyway, so enough about the weather, but I hope you're all staying safe. Omicron is raging everywhere. And almost everyone I know has COVID. You guys know that I was exposed on Christmas Eve. I ended up testing negative, thank God. Thank you. But now I'm paranoid that COVID is like waiting for me around the next corner. And then I happen to have the Pfizer shots. And the CEO of Pfizer came out earlier this week and said like the first two shots were basically no protection against Omicron, and the booster maybe gives you a little bit of protection. So I've had to reassess my risk tolerance for certain things like going to the grocery store and like whether or not I wear a mask. And so I actually went to the grocery store today and I wore a mask today. And this is like the first time I've had a mask on inside since May of last year. Well, obviously Christmas because I was in the movie theater in a city that has a mask mandate, but you know what I mean. Anyway, so before we get started, today I'm going to talk about, I'm sorry, I'm just trying to figure out what the cat's doing. I want to talk to you guys about my nutrition and how that's going. Oh man, I need that. This is the old plan. This is the new plan, right? Because I've moved into level 2. So I want to talk to you about how that's going and some changes that we had to make almost immediately to the plan. And then a little bit about, this is my grocery list. This right here. Look at how big this is. Like, I'm only 5'2". This thing is massive, right? So this is what I went and got today at the grocery store. It was over $200, and which is okay, and I'll tell you why it's okay. So everything is super expensive right now. Everything. Like, buddy, you want to snuggle? Is that what it is? Do you need to snuggle? Okay, we snuggle, honey. Yeah, we snuggle. Where was I? Oh yeah, caffeine. In the grocery store. So here's my receipt. So $214 later, I have food that will probably last me, I'm hoping 2 weeks. I'm going to try to like plan really well so I don't have to go back to the grocery store for a couple weeks. So everything's expensive. That's what I was saying. Everything is super expensive. And I want to put an asterisk on this is that I make a good living. I'm very, very, very fortunate that I have the job that I have, and I've been in this industry for a really long time. And could I make more money? Absolutely. Would I like to? Absolutely. But I recognize that not everyone is in a position that I am in to walk into a grocery store and spend $200 just themselves. And granted, like, it's not all food too. Like, I picked up some cat treats for Kitty, and like I had to get light bulbs and like some firewood because they sell firewood at this grocery store. So I mean, it's I don't even know how much I paid for that firewood. Not gonna lie to you. How much did I even pay for that? Is it even on here? I hope it's on here. I hope she charged me for it. If not, I'm gonna have to call them and be like, hey, you charge me. Anyway, I can't even find it. Yeah, whatever. Anyway, so not everybody can do that, and I just want to share with you guys, you know, the 5 of you that are going to watch this. Joyful, I see you. Hi, friend. I get that everyone can't do that, and I'm very fortunate, and so I don't want to gloss over that part of it, right? I'm not foodie. Like, we'll be like, I make a lot of money. I take out hundreds of dollars in 20s to give out. No, she doesn't do that, motherfucker. She does not do that, okay? So I just want to point that out, right? That I completely recognize that I am in a situation that not a lot of people are in. And like, I'm aware of that. Like, I'm not like, oh, everyone does this. Everyone can do this. No, that's not true. So anyway, okay. So I went grocery shopping today. Wore a mask for the first time in a very long time. Got what I needed, which was awesome. And then it kind of fits into, nice segue, right? Into where I'm at right now with my nutrition. So I'm doing what we call a cut. And for those of you who don't know what that is, it's basically when you, it's just dieting, right? That's what we call it in sports, is like a cut, right? Or bodybuilding, they call it a cut. In CrossFit, we also call it a cut. So what you do during your cut is you try to maintain as much of your food as you can while also being in a caloric deficit so you can lose body fat. And so I have a very low BMR, which is my metabolic, my resting metabolic rate. It's very low. It's only about 1400. And if you believe like scans like the InBody and the DEXA, which by the way are not, they're a good tool to use if you have gotten one. I'm not going to tell someone not to do it. I will tell you what my experience with it is that I'm not sure I believe like the numbers that it puts out, especially relating to my lean muscle mass. So according to the DEXA scan, like I only have 59 pounds of lean muscle, but let me tell you, I have a 282 pound deadlift and a 242 pound back squat. No, 245. Okay. So I feel like I probably got more muscle than that, right? Than what that tells me. And so, but let's assume it's real. So I'm also short. I'm only 5'2". So like, you know what I mean? Like the taller you are, the more mass you have, right? You know, and you have, you know, bigger bones and longer bones and all these things, right? So, but the DEXA and the InBody specifically, they base those numbers on like a law of averages. So what it is it's not really telling you like your number. It's telling you what it thinks you are based on how many other people in the world have ever had these scans done. And they compare your leg mass, right? Like your lean muscle in your leg to all the other people who kind of fit in the same bucket as you do. So it's really just based on the law of averages, right? It's not real. The best way to do body fat percentage is hydrostatic weighing. I understand not everyone has access to that. I think colleges still have it, like, you know, like universities and sports programs. Some hospital systems also have it as well. A lot of places have moved to the DEXA just because it's simply easier. But again, law of averages. So first week was actually not this week, but the week before. And we went from having what we call points on the lean. It's the lean body methodology. I started out like a month ago on like 19 points, and I showed you guys that picture where I definitely could see like, okay, some leaning out. The scale really didn't move, like maybe about 3 pounds total between Thanksgiving and Christmas, which again is fine. And so the first week we dropped from like 19 points to 16, and I immediately gained weight on 16 points. And so, which doesn't make sense, but it happens to me sometimes when I start to drop my calories. Like there's like either I can lose on what is closer to my maintenance, or I lose on what is really a significant calorie deficit. I don't lose in the middle, if that makes sense. So when I'm sitting around what should be a caloric deficit, like it, for some reason my body freaks out and it's like, no, we're not doing this. And so that's what happened. So last week I actually ended up gaining like 2 pounds. So I went into that week at like 191, and I ended that week at one. And I should really film this so you guys can see it. I ended the week at like 193 and a half or something. So that was significant. Now, I will also tell you that last week was also, well, like 2 weeks ago now, it would be. I was also ovulating. Okay, and that makes a difference, right? And it was also our test-in week, so we were testing heavy 5-rep max lifts. So that means you're going to put not necessarily your all-time max, but you're putting a lot of weight on that bar. You're squatting it, you're deadlifting it, you're power cleaning it, plus you're doing conditioning. And I am the type of person that when I condition and when I lift heavy, like my body gets inflamed, right? And so not everybody experiences that. So when I tell people like my stretchy pants are tight after a heavy lifting cycle, they're like, how are your stretchy pants tight? And I'm like, because my legs are full of blood. There you go. That's how. And not everybody experiences that. So came into this week, I talked to my coach, who's helping me with my nutrition, and we decided to drop my points down to 14. So I will show you, this is like a meal plan. It shows you like how many points for breakfast, like a snack, lunch, dinner, whatever, right? And I'll just clip this in there so you guys can take a look at it. And so basically what that does, right, is it brings me down a few hundred calories a day, right? And so one of the goals though that I do have for this cut is I don't want to lose a lot of lean mass. Now, when you're dieting or when you're cutting, you're going to lose some muscle mass. That's just natural. It happens. But you want to maintain, right? So you want to maintain as much of that mass as possible while still losing body fat. So you have to eat enough to maintain, but not too much. So you're putting on body fat. So it's like, it's a sweet spot, right? Okay. So I think we found the sweet spot. So I'm now on 14 points a day. And this in the last, like, when did we switch that? I think we switched it Tuesday because we had a meeting on Monday with the larger group of people that's doing this with me. And on Tuesday, we switched it. Since Tuesday, I've lost two pounds. So in 5 days, I've dropped 2 pounds. Now, some of that's probably water. Like we absolutely 100% did more of a deload this week, which means we're not lifting heavy weights. We're doing a little bit more conditioning. So I'm sweating like a mofo. But not the super heavy weights. So I don't get the inflammation from the super heavy weights, but I'm getting a little bit from the cardio, or we call it metabolic conditioning, Metcon, right? In CrossFit, metabolic conditioning. But super happy. So this morning I weighed in at 190.2. I'm like Amberlynn with the points. So I'm down 2 pounds since Tuesday. Really happy with that. And actually I'm down really like 1.5 pounds since yesterday, which is like crazy. But again, mostly water probably, but I'm really happy with directionally where this is going. Because it sucks. Let me tell you, dieting sucks. Being in a calorie deficit sucks, especially when you train, because like one of my goals, right, is not to impact my training. And I'm going to have to give some of it up a little bit. Buddy, what's the matter? He is so restless, guys. I don't know. Do your pets ever get like this? And I swear he's trying to kill me. He's just like restless in like the last few days. And I know the weather's been a little bit different. It's been a bit warmer again. And I don't know what he's doing. I don't understand. I don't get it. So really successful. I'm really happy about where things are going. And let me show you my food list, and I'll go ahead and I'll put it in there for you so you guys can see this, but it gives you a list of things that you should eat, right? Mostly lean proteins. Like I also don't eat a lot of fat. I never have, like it's not really my thing. I'd rather eat carbs, right? And I think anyone who can relate to that will understand what I'm talking about, right? It's like, if you had to give me the choice between like a stick of butter and like macaroni, I'm gonna take the macaroni every single day and twice on Sunday. Like I would, yeah. And like, where if you listen to Shikara Transformations, Alona, she diets, she cuts on keto, she eats higher fat, less carbs. She just doesn't crave carbohydrates, and like that's just how her body is, right? Where mine, I've dieted successfully, on a higher carb, lower fat diet. And so this one though is definitely a little bit higher fat, less carbs, which is fine because I actually haven't really been into starchy carbs lately. I think I mentioned this in my last video, like I'm not even interested in eating rice, and rice is one of my favorite things to eat, and I haven't been for a couple of months. And so I don't know what that's about. I'm not complaining though, because it's not affecting my training. And so, and I can tell when I need something though, like, you know, that feeling you're just like fucking wiped out, right? You know, and then if I like do a little bit more carbohydrates the next day, like potatoes or even like a bagel, which is like, everyone's like, don't eat processed food. Fuck that. Eat whatever the fuck you want. Buddy, what? Again, what's the matter? We can snuggle a little bit. Yeah, Mama will just edit it out. Yeah. This cat, I'm telling you. Oh my God. Anyway, so where was I? Oh yeah. So the zone diet, definitely a bit more fat than what I normally would eat. So I have to be consciously aware that I need to include fats in my diet where I normally wouldn't. Like, I wouldn't just automatically put a tablespoon of peanut butter in something. Like, I love peanut butter, don't get me wrong. I love butter, like all those things, but it's been a little bit different. But so far, so good. So we dropped the points from 19 to 16. 16 was not working, but 14 seems to be working. So I'm going to ride the wave with 14 points for as long as I can, and then we might have to adjust again later. Now 14 is really taking me down, like really close to my BMR. It's about 100 calories per point on the zone diet. So you could be eating like as little as like 1,400 calories, or you could be eating as much as like 2,800 calories. It just depends on what sources of food you choose, right, from your food list. And so I tend to be on the closer to the 1,400, right, than I do to like the 2,800, right? And so it's just, and I know that doesn't make sense because you're like, Karen, you just said it was 100 calories per point. 100 times 14 is 1,400, not 28. But it's between, there's like a range there. It's between like 100 and 250. And so the average is somewhere in between there, right? So you could really be overeating on it. You have to be very careful, and just, you still have to measure your food. I'm still tracking my food. I'm trying to stop. You guys know that. I'm having a very hard time with that though. It makes me feel normal when I'm tracking my food, right? It makes me feel like I'm in control. Yeah. And I think my next video, I'm going to talk about what it's like to try to lose weight when you have a disordered eating past. I think that might be beneficial for folks to understand. And if you, if you know, you know, right? And I want to say this, that I'm not a physician. And if you have an ED, like, please do not listen to anything that's about to come out of my mouth. But it is possible to get yourself to a healthy weight or a comfortable weight regardless of your ED past, right? You know, and I mean, I shouldn't say regardless, that's insensitive. Like, that's not true. It's possible if you have the right support, right? And one of the examples that I like to use is Kate Dillon. She is a fashion model. She was anorexic for years. She recovered, and I use that term loosely because I don't think you're ever fully recovered. I think it becomes more manageable. And then later in her life, she lost weight again, but is not anorexic, right? She's just at a healthy, you know, for her height, you know, her doctor have decided that this is a comfortable weight for her. And so, so it is possible. And so, I want to talk about that, and I will put disclaimers all over that because while it is possible for me, it may not be possible for someone else, and I don't want anyone to feel bad or think like, oh, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Like, but I want to tell you that it is possible, right? And you just have to have the right support, and you have to be in the right frame of mind, right? You know, and it's very easy to step over the line, you know, because you tend to fall back into old habits and, you know, whatever. And so you need to really have that support system around you that can kind of stop you from doing that, right? Okay. So next up, going forward, I am going to record my weigh-ins because I think that that's interesting. And if not for you all, for me, right? Because I mean, I know what it is because I track it, but I think it'd be interesting for you guys to see that. So that's that. Things are going awesome. Next up, Foodie Beauty. Girl, I'm going to one-up you. So y'all know how Foodie bought her man an iPad. Now, I want to preface this with, like, I am not a reaction channel. I'm just a observer of, you know, of her behavior, right, through reaction channels. So specifically Pulpy Syntax, Milk Tea, Juicy Media.
Did you say that again?
No.
Sorry.
I didn't even ask her to, like, for anything. She just turns on. So I'm not a reaction channel. Obviously, there's only like 5 of you here. Hey, Joyful. Um, but I've said this before. I see a lot of myself in Foodie, because I've done the things she has done. So, and again, do I think that they're really together behind the scenes? Do I think that there's something more going on there? Yeah, like it's just there's a lot of fuckery. There's a lot of fuckery. We don't know what's real. I don't even think she knows what's real, to be honest. Like, there's so many lies, right? It's like there's a line in the movie JFK where I think it's Joe Pesci, right, that says it like it's a riddle, it's a lie and a riddle wrapped in an enigma. Like the shooters don't even know. Like when they're talking about who assassinated John Kennedy, it's that's what this is, right? It's like a riddle and a lie, and it's all wrapped together, and no one knows what's real, right? Like they don't even know it's real. So anyway, okay, so she bought her man an iPad. I go on up, you foodie. So the man that I thought I was in love with behind the scenes, right? I bought him a car. So, so, you can take your little iPad, and you got to up your game, bro, if you want to buy someone's love. It's embarrassing to say that. So, but I'm going to tell you guys because I want people to see that this happens more often than you realize, right? And I'm an educated, balanced person, and I fell into this trap too. Why? Because like I didn't think anyone would ever like want to be with me, and so it was just, because there's like, why? Because I'm short, I'm chunky, like, at the time I was, really heavy, really overweight, like I'm not conventionally attractive, like all the things working against me, right, guys? And so I get it. Do I still think she is a piece of trash? Yes. Do I think he's a piece of trash? Yes. But it's more common than you realize. So anyway, those are my thoughts. So, again, I hope you guys are all doing wonderful. I will keep you updated on how this is going. So far, so good. I feel really good. And that's just not the rock star talking. Not sponsored, by the way. I mean, if you want to, you can. Although Monster sponsors kind of the CrossFit game, so I probably should be like, no, it's really a freaking silver Monster, not a rock star. They didn't have any Monster at the store, the silver one that I like to drink. So, but this actually tastes almost identical. So I'm pretty happy about it. Anyway, please stay safe out there. Wear your mask if you want to. Don't go anywhere if you don't have to. If you want to, just be careful. Like a lot of people are getting sick. My boss's husband is on a ventilator right now, with COVID. He has pneumonia. He's stable, but you just don't know what's going to happen, right? Like I'm a young person and I have my shots and I'm relatively healthy and I go to the gym and I work out, but I could get COVID and it could kill me. Like you just don't know. So please be careful. And also too, if you are following along on the Chantel saga, please make sure that you are taking time for yourself and stepping away from that. Like right now, yesterday was the first time I watched a reaction in a very long time, through Pulpy, because I just was like, this is stupid as fuck. It is stupid as fuck. And it's just the same old, right? And the Wadapalooza event right now, which if you guys are not familiar is a sanctioned CrossFit event in Miami, Florida. And so I've been watching that for the last few days, and it's been really nice to just watch people get their fitness on and watch people doing things that are really exciting and fun and healthy and not watching Chantel. So, so anyway, so take care of yourselves, guys. I will see you again next week. Yeah, that's all I got. Bye.